Mic check, mic check. Salute. It is unapologetically QI, unapologetically entering the building. Now, I set this live up for a little later, but I decided I might need to go ahead and get it done, or else I won't, because I have to get some yard work done. And I really need to do it before, the sun comes out in full blast. So let's go ahead and make it rip. So regardless if people want to believe it, accept it or not, the B sector is gone. Finito. Gone. None of the original B sector people are really out here. Like, everybody these days is somebody new. From other sectors, from other areas. And this is why people are not doing the things that they did back in the past that helped the B sector to flourish. Back in the past, it's like if you had a beef with somebody, then you would address it on your channel, or it would kick off on a channel. Then it would transfer to, then whoever that person was beefing with would go live, and it would transfer to that channel. And then other people would jump in and it would transfer to their channel. So even then, there were people who got better numbers than others or whatever. But at the same time, everybody was getting fed. Large content creators, small content creators were all getting fed in the beef sector. Now it's selfishness. Well, it's been selfishness for the last, since COVID? 5 years with the trifecta and them clogging the airways. And the funny part about it is I wasn't really here then because I had, family things to take care of. So it's like I left. Making real good numbers. I was making like at least 300 in my live chats or whatever. And, I had to go, step away because family came first. And when I came back, it was like nobody here, almost like a graveyard. There was only one set of people doing content. And then before I left, everybody was on the 5 Babe train. Because, 5 Babe was still out here, and it was like a lot of women content creators. Not anymore. And really, technically, when you look at the beef sector, you only have about 5 content creators. If you want to say, like, how many content creators are in the beef sector? About 5. And that's not a sector. If you got 5 people and 5 people from a sector going live, and the majority of the content that's been done on the beef sector is outside of the sector by other sectors, then that means that there's no more beef sector. That's not a sector. But selfishness and greed did that. And, I tried to come in and I tried to have hope. I tried to, I was like, oh, because it's, it's beneficial to all. And then it's motivating. Like, if you actually have something to talk about, if we got some real content, some real things to speak about, and not no toxic, dysfunctional things every day, then it's motivating. Now, like a lot of times I can't make it through a lot of lives because it is so toxic. And I'm a super empath and I feel that energy. So, so that I don't be feeling stressed or drained or, whatever of my energy. A lot of times I can't listen to a lot of these lives in full. because it's so draining. It's like trauma. Everybody's projecting their own trauma onto others. It's a bunch of trauma projecting. A bunch of trauma projecting. And it's just sad. Everything, like, there's no laughing, there's no happy. People are and y'all are calling this entertainment. This is stuff that you can see if you're in a, like in a mental asylum or something. It's crazy. All you see is people hurting people trying to step on the next person, people, going into other people's personal life. Just like the situation with Uppy, I wasn't touching that. I'm not touching anything that deals with somebody's personal life. Nevertheless, somebody, underage children or family members. I'm pro family. I'm for family. So if I can't help you, I'm definitely not gonna hurt you, by coming out here and causing a group pile up, by causing, people to, do things to people or whatever. I'm not doing that. Because really, they're not doing it to help. They're doing it to hurt because they're mad at this person. I don't necessarily care for Uppity either. I know Uppity has some severe issues, mental issues. And she does a lot, so I give her grace a little bit. I give people grace because I know some people, and I just stay away from around her, Now, if she comes and, confronts me or whatever, I'm gonna let her have it. But for the most part, it's just like, I don't take this serious, Uppity, she got issues. Let's just put it that way. A lot of these people have issues. The ones that get the most numbers have the most issues. And that's why we got all of this toxicity and dysfunction that's being packaged up as entertainment. Who can laugh about hurting other people? Something has to be wrong with you to want to laugh and feel like it's funny to hurt somebody else. It's sad. It's sad. And then a lot of the original B sector content creators or whatever have been attacked, get attacked on a daily. Narratives run and spent. And like when people reach outside the sector to try to do bigger and better things, or when people really have real talent, because it ain't no real talent out here. This is not network worthy. It's not real. It's not anything newsworthy or anything like this. It's a liability. But when people try to come out here and do real content, it's the blackouts. We hear about the blackouts. That happened to me and a lot of other people. And when I was out here, I did Women Empowerment Wednesdays, L Panel. Then I did my own content, and most of it was not like. Every now and then I would, address something or whatever. But for the most part, it was content that, you could speak about. Content that people could react to. Content that people could speak about. But people are not real content creators. They're not even real reaction channels, or not even real commentators for the most part. They need panels. And if you got a panel, and if your channel is primarily a panel, that's not your success. Those numbers are coming because you opened up your panel and you let everybody on. If I open up my panel right now and I'm willing to take some strikes and flags and different things like that, I'm willing to compromise my channel. If I opened up my panel right now today, open panel, anybody welcome, and I let anybody hit my link, I would have a whole bunch of numbers. But I'm trying to do something better. I don't want to be, this not my that's not going to be my legacy. And I thought the beef sector was headed in some a good place at one time. It was. The beef sector was popping at one time. Now, head I could see the potential in something bigger happening with the beef sector at one time. That's why like people were trying to do shows. But this stuff right here, it ain't worth no shows. There's no history. There's no, everybody's storylines. They got that from me. There's like storylines because I was trying to say that the beef sector is like about people. It was organic. People were actually intermingled, and then it blossomed. The beef blossomed from there. So it wasn't like jumping on a panel arguing with somebody with a loud mic. That ain't beef sector. That's Mo3 sector. That's what you call scratching. That's scratching. And nothing comes out of it. Nothing comes out of it. Nothing to pass on to the next day. Nothing to really talk about. Just like I don't know what happened last night. It's a blur because nothing happened. So anybody who's on here today talking, it's because they're about something real. That's because they're a real content creator. That's because a real content creator can create content without other people, or can create content without anything major happening, can create content without commentating, can create content without relying on other people, waiting to talk about somebody else. Because that's how people just waiting to talk about somebody else. It's like the crab in the barrel. It's sad. Slave mentality. That's all. This is a sector full of, crab in the barrel, slave mentality. People, insecure people hating on people they feel that are better than them. Or, it's ridiculous. A lot of people need a lot of therapy. It's a lot of trauma. And, I really want to come from that. And, I really been coming from that aspect. Because you can let stuff be a lesson, and a blessing, or, well, lesson and blessing, or you could go with it. You could turn what they say, you could turn lemons into lemonade. Potential for growth, teaching opportunities. Because, regardless of what people say, they're like, okay, YouTube ain't the real world. Yes, it is. These are real people. They're real lives. It's real. And a lot of this dysfunction is spreading, just like we were talking about the manosphere the other day, how the manosphere has spread. And now we have a crisis when it comes down to Black femicide because of the manosphere. And then I see the beef sector letting all the manosphere up in here. And then, like I told y'all before, we're going to end up having some casualties. And it's like nobody, it's like, this is not business. This is not, y'all, oh, this is a bit, no, it ain't. It is hustling. It's street stuff. The only thing is not on the street. It's not dealing. It's online. There's a difference. There's a big difference. They like biz. I'm like, what type of biz? I ain't going to nobody business. And that's why we glad for a Better Business Bureau. That's why we glad for these rules and regulations. That's why I'm glad that YouTube is bringing about these rules and regulations, because there's too many people on here that are not about business, and they're hindering or hurting the people who want to be about real business, professional business, who want to do something bigger and better. Crab in the barrel. Most of the people who get dogged out, dragged, or, piled up on the most are the people who have the real potential. But, I'm just ready for people to just admit that the beef sector is gone. Nobody around, none of these active people around here are beef sector. None of them. None of them. Most of the people getting numbers are not creating any content that's that's worthy of even talking about. And, Because we used to talk about real topics, and it's just like a blur. And it's no different from the next sector. That's why so many other sectors can just come in here, just come into the what used to be the B sector, because it's not there. Like, it doesn't require anything. It requires nothing to come in here, start talking about the next person, or the clout chase to use the biggest name. They do that all over YouTube, and it never works because that's not your talent. Like, it never works when 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 it's not you or your talent, and when it's panels, that's it's not going to work for long because you're dependent. That's why I refuse to do it. That's why I'm not so keen on dropping a link or anything like that. That's why I come on here and pretty much speak for myself. I've done 2-3 hour lives by myself with straight up content. Just pure content. I'm talking about nothing B sector related, not talking about anybody, just talking about some serious topics. Heck, the other day I did some content on science. Before I even came into what was known as the B sector, like, I didn't intend to be a content creator. Like, basically I was on here because it was about, I like, like I said, I'm an advocate and an activist for a lot of things. And I was advocating for things. And I was on a lot of panels. Like, I got a lot of numbers, even though I didn't go live or anything like that. I was popular, and this was in multiple sectors. Only to come into a sector, and then it sort of started out like that in the B sector, but only to come into the B sector, and then, and to now, it's just like I've never had experienced what I experienced in the B sector. Never. And I'm so glad that I'm strong. And I'm so glad that, God, my analytic ability, my IQ and different things helped me to, like, see past really what it is other people's pain and other people's hurt, to realize, like, something my grandma told me. She said, sometimes when people do stuff to you, they're not doing it to you. They're doing it because they're angry inside. They have issues. They got trauma inside. They're projecting. What my grandma was trying to tell me was about projecting in her own, a simplified way. In a simplified way. But I have to, just speak about that because it's like been a blur. It's boring. It is boring. Y'all talking about moderator renters? Oh my God. The same old arguing on panels. It's wash, rinse, repeat, the same routine. And same routine, and then it's hating. Like, a lot of hating on all the way around the board. You can't just blame one person. It's all the way around the board. A lot of, snakes all the way around the board. So it's like, wow. It's not interesting anymore. It's like watching the same thing over and over. Watching the same episode of a show over and over and over and over. How many times does it take you to see that episode for you to, like, how many times do you need to see that episode to know what's going on in that episode? You can start calling the plays. You can start calling the next moves. It's boring. Not entertaining. Nothing makes me laugh. Like, I don't know how hurting people or pain can make people laugh. But like I said, I got some yard work to do, and I need to do it before, I need to try to get as much of it done before it gets too hot. So I'm going to get off of here. And so it is now unapologetically Q. I exit in the building. peace, love, hair grease, and all that good stuff. I'll see y'all tomorrow. I'm trying to do at least 30 minutes a day. I think I've been doing good. For my core audience, please commend me for that. Thank you. And if you support me, I'm not selfish. I'm going to support you. We're all the same. It ain't no support going all one way. We're going to all support each other. So if you're a supporter of mine, by all means, in the comment section, let me know that you have a channel, and I will come over regardless if, I'm deeply into your content or not. I will give you 5-10 minutes to make that view count and a like. That's how that works. And if it's share worthy, and what I mean by share worthy, like, if something is gonna be is gonna create some drama or controversy, or if something I feel like might offend, people, then I might not share it. But other than that, I'll share. I'm a share. I share everybody. I support a lot of people, especially women, because I feel like women are not getting enough support. As soon as women try to, like, all women get, women are getting stumped on and badgered on for, coming out here trying to be content creators. And all I see is, like, I do understand we're in a misogynistic, and women can be misogynistic as well, from religions and different things of that nature. I do understand traditionalists, mammies, whatever y'all might want to call it. I do understand that we're in that type of sector. I out of all people, understand, because I experienced a lot of the discrimination from being, myself, and opposite, from being a free thinker, from being who I am and not following the group. Like I said, free thinker, critical thinker, we're think tank. I get a lot of, flack and discrimination and stuff like that, for, me, being me and not following a group. I'm not a follower. I don't kiss butt. None of that stuff. I can't do that. Yes, I can. I'm kind. I'm nice. I have a big, kind heart, but I'm not to be played with either. You can ask anybody. The gloves will come off. But like I said, until next time, let me get to my good duties here. I might come on while I'm taking a break if it gets too hot or something like that. But until tomorrow, whatever, I will see you guys later. Make sure you smash that like, share. And by all means, like I said, if you're a content creator, let me know so that I can make sure I can give you support in return. But peace, and I am out.